Welcome back to Throttle Tribe. Dealerships are in panic mode. Japanese motorcycles are piling up and they can't move them fast enough. These are solid bikes with insane discounts, and today we're revealing 7 of them you can steal for dirt cheap. Desperate dealers, slashed prices, and unbelievable deals you don't want to miss. Let's jump in. Number 1 bike right now is number 7, the Kawasaki Vulcan S. Back in 2015, Kawasaki introduced the Vulcan S in hopes of bringing a fresh, modern twist to the cruiser world. On paper, it made a lot of sense. Take a lightweight chassis, borrow the proven engine from the Ninja 650, and pair it with a laid-back riding position. Boom, instant success, right? The Vulcan S is powered by a 649cc liquid-cooled parallel twin engine that produces 61 horsepower and 46 pound-feet of torque. It comes mated to a smooth 6-speed transmission and uses a low-maintenance belt final drive, a welcome touch for cruiser fans tired of the constant upkeep that comes with chains. With a wet weight of just 498 pounds and a seat height of only 27.8 inches, the Vulcan S is extremely manageable, especially for newer riders and shorter individuals. Add in Kawasaki's clever Ergo Fit system, which allows riders to customize their seating position with adjustable seat, handlebar, and foot peg setups, and it should have been a tailor-made success story. But here's the problem. Cruiser buyers are fiercely loyal to tradition. They want big displacement V-twins that rumble, shake, and roar. They want chrome, fat tires, and a raw mechanical feel. The Vulcan S, with its smooth revving parallel twin quiet operation and sporty undertones, simply doesn't deliver that old-school cruiser vibe. Meanwhile, sport bike riders looking to slow down and relax often find the Vulcan S too soft and uninspiring. It lacks the high-revving thrill or adrenaline punch they're used to. That leaves the bike stuck awkwardly in the middle, not authentic enough for cruiser purists, and not exciting enough for sport bike fans. Even the styling has sparked debate. The teardrop tank appears oddly proportioned, the exposed frame rails don't scream premium, and overall, it looks a bit unfinished when compared to classic American cruisers. At a starting price of $7,399, many potential buyers instead turn to lightly used Harley-Davidson Sportsters, Indian Scouts, or Yamaha Bolts, bikes that feel more like true cruisers and carry a stronger brand image. As a result, Vulcan S models have been languishing in dealership showrooms across the country since around 2021. Today, many dealers are offering massive incentives just to clear them out, think free accessories, extended service plans, and steep discounts off MSRP. Some even include bundled upgrades like saddlebags, windshields, and free installation just to sweeten the deal. Here's the kicker. If you're looking for a lightweight, reliable, modern cruiser at a bargain price, there's almost no better value right now than a leftover Kawasaki Vulcan S. But if you think a practical, modern cruiser struggling to sell is surprising, wait until you see how even one of the most iconic speed machines of all time has been gathering dust in showrooms. Number 6. Suzuki Hayabusa. When the Suzuki Hayabusa first hit the streets in 1999, it was a bombshell. Nobody had seen anything like it. A motorcycle so fast that it actually forced a gentleman's agreement between manufacturers to limit top speeds. With its massive 1,340cc inline-4 engine, the Hayabusa shattered records, pushed boundaries, and instantly earned a place in motorcycle history. The latest generation, updated in 2021, still carries that legendary DNA. At its heart is a 1,340cc liquid-cooled DOHC inline-4 engine, producing 187 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with a slick 6-speed transmission and features a modern ride-by-wire throttle, multiple power modes, cornering ABS, launch control, cruise control, and a full electronic rider assist suite. Fuel capacity is a respectable 5.3 gallons, and the wet weight tips the scales at 564 pounds, not exactly featherweight but extremely planted and stable at high speeds. On paper, it sounds unstoppable, and on the open road, it still is. Few bikes offer the same sensation of effortless high-speed cruising, where triple-digit speeds feel like a casual stroll. However, despite its awe-inspiring performance, the Hayabusa has been struggling to move off showroom floors since around 2020. The reasons are pretty clear. First, rider priorities have changed. 2 decades ago, top-speed bragging rights were everything. Today, riders crave versatility. Motorcycles that can tackle city commutes, weekend getaways, and twisty backroads without burning through a paycheck in tires and fuel. Second, the Hayabusa is expensive to own. Insurance premiums are notoriously high, even for experienced riders with clean records. Tires wear out quickly due to the bike's sheer power and weight. Maintenance, especially valve adjustments and chain care, comes at a premium. And the MSRP? $18,599 for the base model, before dealer fees and taxes. That's a tough sell when lighter, cheaper, and more versatile bikes like the Yamaha MT-10 or Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX are sitting right next to it on the showroom floor. Third, even with updates, the Hayabusa still looks very similar to the older models. While some longtime fans appreciate that familiar silhouette, Many younger riders feel it looks bulky and dated, especially when compared to sharper, more aggressive designs coming out of Europe and Japan. Dealerships across the country have taken notice. Hayabusas are gathering dust, and to move inventory, dealers are offering thousands off MSRP, throwing in free maintenance packages, accessory discounts, and slashing financing rates to historic lows. In some cases, you can score a brand new Hayabusa for the price of a high-end middleweight sport bike. The bottom line, if you've always dreamed of owning one of the fastest, most iconic motorcycles ever made, this might be the best opportunity you'll ever get. But if you thought the Hayabusa's fall from glory was surprising, just wait until you meet Honda's so-called bike of the future, a machine that promised revolution, but ended up as one of the most confusing flops in modern motorcycle history. Number 5. Honda DN01. Every now and then, Honda throws caution to the wind and creates something wildly different. Sometimes it works, other times, well, you get the DN01. Introduced in 2008, the Honda DN01 was an ambitious attempt to merge the relaxed riding position of a cruiser, the handling of a sport bike, and the twist-and-go convenience of a scooter. On paper, it sounded revolutionary, a bike aimed at both seasoned riders seeking a hassle-free ride and beginners intimidated by manual transmissions. At its core, the DN01 housed a 682cc liquid-cooled V-twin engine producing around 61 horsepower and 45 pound-feet of torque. It was paired with Honda's innovative, human-friendly transmission, a continuously variable automatic transmission that allowed riders to simply twist the throttle and ride. No shifting, no clutch work, just smooth power delivery. Weighing in at a hefty 595 pounds wet and carrying a 4-gallon fuel tank, the DN01 featured a low 27.2-inch seat height, making it accessible for shorter riders. One of its standout features was a unique final drive system, a chain enclosed in an oil bath within a cast aluminum swing arm, something rarely seen on motorcycles. Honda also included its combined ABS braking system, offering linked front and rear braking for added safety. Sounds clever, right? Technologically, the DN01 was ahead of its time, but here's the catch: motorcycle buyers, especially in the US, are emotional buyers. They want soul, they want personality, and that's where the DN01 fell flat. Cruiser fans dismissed it because the automatic transmission removed the tactile joy of clutch control and gear shifting. Sport bike riders scoffed at its modest performance and excessive weight. It wasn't fast, and it certainly wasn't nimble. Scooter enthusiasts found it too big, too heavy, and way too expensive compared to their compact, city-friendly machines. And speaking of expensive, here comes the final nail in the coffin. When it launched, the DN01 came with a jaw-dropping $15,000 price tag. For context, that kind of money could buy you 2 decent motorcycles at the time, or a solid used Harley, or even a brand new mid-size cruiser with superior touring capabilities. Then there's the styling. The futuristic, low-slung, almost alien design split opinions down the middle. Some thought it looked like something Batman would ride. Others just thought it looked weird. Since around 2020, leftover DN01s have been gathering dust in dealership backrooms and popping up on the used market at bargain bin prices. Desperate dealers have bundled in free gear, offered thousands in discounts, or practically given them away just to clear floor space. Here's the irony. If you can get past the unconventional looks and embrace its uniqueness, the DN01 is actually a great daily rider. It's smooth, comfortable, reliable, and definitely turns heads. Honda took a bold risk and it missed. But the next bike on our list proves that even when Honda plays it a little safer, they can still miss the mark, and miss it by a mile. If the DN01 caught your eye, just wait until you see what's next. Number 4. Honda CTX 1300. When Honda introduced the CTX 1300 in 2014, it was clear they were aiming for something different. They wanted a machine that could cruise comfortably across the country, but still feel approachable for riders who were getting older, downsizing, or simply looking for a more manageable alternative to a full-dress tourer. Powering the CTX 1300 was a 1268cc longitudinal V4 engine, a slightly tamer version of the motor found in the ST 1300 Sport Tourer. Honda tuned it for low-end grunt rather than top-end rush, delivering around 81 horsepower and 78 pound-feet of torque. The engine was smooth, quiet, and perfectly suited for long-distance rides, paired with a 5-speed transmission and a maintenance-free shaft drive. At 730 pounds wet, the CTX 1300 was no lightweight, but thanks to its low 29.1-inch seat height and wide, easy-reach handlebars, it felt smaller and more manageable once you were on the move. Its 5.1-gallon fuel tank gave it a decent range for a cruiser touring hybrid. Honda packed the CTX 1300 with features riders usually had to pay extra for: standard ABS, traction control, integrated hard saddlebags, and even Bluetooth speakers on the deluxe model meant comfort and convenience were baked in from the start. But where things started to go sideways was the styling. The CTX 1300 wore a wide, almost bulbous front fairing paired with slim and stubby rear proportions. It was hard to tell whether it wanted to be a power cruiser, a luxury bagger, or some kind of futuristic concept bike. Many riders looked at it once, scratched their heads, and moved on. Performance was another sticking point. While the engine was refined and steady, it lacked the punch and excitement riders expected from a big V4. Passing power was available, but the bike delivered it in such a smooth, muted way that it often felt disconnected from the road. Riders who wanted a bit of thrill when rolling on the throttle found themselves wishing for more. The price didn't help either. Starting at around $17,000, the CTX 1300 was knocking on the door of Goldwing territory, without offering the same prestige, reputation, or resale value. For just a little more money, buyers could get a full-blown Goldwing or a Harley-Davidson bagger, bikes with stronger brands and deeper emotional appeal. By 2018, CTX 1300S had quietly disappeared into dealership corners, often pushed behind rows of more traditional cruisers and sport tourers. Today they still pop up with almost no miles, heavily discounted, bundled with free accessories or sold with multi-year warranties, just to get someone to take them home. Beneath its awkward styling, the CTX 1300 remains a smooth, durable, and incredibly comfortable machine. But in a world where emotion often drives buying decisions, function alone wasn't enough to save it. Number 3. The Yamaha R6. For over 2 decades, the Yamaha R6 was the dream bike of every rider who wanted to carve corners like a professional racer. First introduced in 1999, it set a new benchmark for middleweight supersport motorcycles. It was light, razor-sharp, and so brutally focused that it made every backroad feel like a MotoGP circuit. At the heart of the R6 was its 599cc liquid-cooled inline-4 engine, capable of screaming all the way up to a piercing 15,000 RPM. Later models delivered an impressive 122 horsepower, paired with a 6-speed transmission and slipper clutch. Weighing just 419 pounds wet and holding 4.5 gallons of fuel, the R6 felt incredibly slim and agile under the rider. With fully adjustable suspension front and rear, radial-mounted brakes and a lightweight aluminum delta box frame, the R6 begged to be ridden hard, whether on track days or twisty mountain roads. Few bikes cornered with such laser precision, and even fewer rewarded aggressive riding the way the R6 did. However, away from the racetrack, the R6 became a punishing machine. Its aggressive ergonomics were designed for lap times, not comfort. Low clip-on handlebars, high rear-set foot pegs, and a seat that felt like a wooden plank made even short city rides feel like endurance tests. Commuting on an R6 was like riding a missile built for war through peacetime traffic. Insurance premiums were sky-high thanks to its reputation for speed and risk. Maintenance costs quickly piled up with expensive valve adjustments, high-performance brake pads that wore out fast, and premium tires that didn't last long. Owning an R6 wasn't just a commitment to speed, it was a commitment to a high-maintenance, high-cost lifestyle. By the time 2021 rolled around, tightening emissions regulations and shifting consumer preferences sealed the R6's fate. Yamaha officially discontinued the street-legal version in most markets, redirecting its focus toward the more street-friendly R7. Dealerships were suddenly left with a glut of unsold R6 units. Riders who wanted a fast bike were now leaning toward more versatile naked bikes like the MT-09, or practical supersports like the Kawasaki Ninja ZX-6R, which offered a better balance between comfort and performance. The hardcore track day community simply wasn't large enough to sustain R6 sales. Today, leftover R6 models still gather dust in showrooms. Many are deeply discounted, with dealers offering generous rebates, low-interest financing, and even free track day memberships just to move inventory. In some regions you can pick up a brand new R6 for less than a fully loaded middleweight naked bike. The Yamaha R6 remains one of the finest track machines ever built, an icon of precision and performance. But for real-world riders who need comfort, versatility, and lower running costs, it's a tough sell. Once a king of both road and racetrack, the R6 now quietly waits for the rare buyer who still craves its raw, uncompromising spirit. Number 2, the Suzuki GSX 250R. A beginner bike that nobody wanted. When Suzuki unveiled the GSX 250R in 2017, it seemed like a smart move. With sporty styling, an approachable engine, and the trusted GSX-R badge, it looked like a beginner bike that could be both affordable and fun. But once riders got their hands on it, the GSX 250R turned out to be more of a swing and a miss. Powered by a 248cc parallel twin engine producing a modest 24 horsepower and around 17 pound-feet of torque, the bike is mated to a 6-speed transmission. Weighing in at 392 pounds wet and carrying a 4-gallon fuel tank, it features a manageable seat height of 31.1 inches, making it accessible for most riders. Its upright ergonomics and relaxed riding position seemed ideal for newcomers. On paper, the GSX 250R had all the makings of the perfect starter bike: lightweight, unintimidating, and economical to run. But in practice, buyers quickly realized that good looks can only go so far. Despite aggressive styling inspired by its GSX-R big brothers, the GSX 250R lacked the excitement expected from a sport bike. Acceleration was underwhelming, especially when compared to rivals like the Kawasaki Ninja 400 or Yamaha R3. Cranking the throttle produced more noise than forward motion, and highway riding became a chore, with the engine buzzing at high RPMs just to keep up. Overtaking? That required careful planning, long run-ups, and a little bit of luck. The suspension was another letdown, softly sprung and underdamped. While it soaked up potholes, it wallowed in corners, making spirited riding feel vague and unsteady. Instead of inspiring confidence, it left beginners second-guessing. Braking was average at best, with a single front disc and a basic rear setup that did the job but offered little feedback or bite. Even its price, initially seen as a strong point, backfired. At around $4,600 new, it was only a few $100s cheaper than significantly better bikes. For slightly more, riders could get a Ninja 400 with nearly double the power, sharper handling, and far superior components. As word spread, the GSX 250R's reputation faded fast. Dealerships were stuck with unsold inventory, resorting to deep discounts and bundle deals just to move units: free helmets, jackets, service packages, you name it. Some dealers even knocked thousands off the sticker price to make room for models that people actually wanted. And with almost no marketing push from Suzuki, the GSX 250R became practically invisible on showroom floors. To be fair, if your expectations are modest, city commuting, short-distance rides, and low maintenance, the GSX 250R can be a cheap, reliable partner. But for most beginners seeking their first real thrill on two wheels, the excitement ended the moment the engine fired up. If you're into this bike, just wait, because the next one is even more exciting. Number 1. The Kawasaki Concours 14. The Kawasaki Concours 14 was supposed to be the perfect marriage of speed, comfort, and long-distance touring power. When it launched in 2008, it felt like a revelation. A big-bore sport bike disguised in sensible touring clothing, ready to devour highways and mountain passes in one effortless swoop. At its heart lies a 1,352cc inline-4 engine, borrowed and slightly retuned from the legendary ZX-14R. It pumps out a massive 156 horsepower and 136 pound-feet of torque, paired with a smooth 6-speed transmission and a maintenance-free shaft drive system designed for heavy-duty touring. Weighing in at around 690 pounds wet and featuring a 5.8-gallon fuel tank, the Concours 14 was never a featherweight. But once it got moving, it carried its heft with surprising grace, especially in high-speed sweepers where rock-solid stability mattered most. Kawasaki packed this machine with serious touring features: linked ABS brakes, an electronically adjustable windshield, heated grips, a tire pressure monitoring system, and massive hard saddlebags that integrated beautifully into the sleek bodywork. Later models added traction control and a keyless ignition system, helping the big Connie keep pace with modern expectations. On paper, it looked like the ultimate do-it-all machine. In practice, it delivered blistering speed, bottomless torque, and rock-solid long-distance comfort for riders willing to tame its size. But by the time 2020 rolled around, the cracks began to show. What was once cutting-edge began to feel outdated compared to newer sport tourers and adventure bikes. Riders started gravitating toward machines like the BMW R1250RS, Yamaha Tracer 9 GT, or high-end ADV bikes like the Honda Africa Twin, all offering lighter weight, better fuel economy, more advanced tech, and easier low-speed handling. In a market where versatility and everyday usability became key, the Concours 14's sheer bulk turned into a liability. Low-speed maneuvering, especially in parking lots, felt like wrestling a bear. City commuting was awkward at best. Even the heat management from that massive engine could become brutal during summer rides. Then came the price. Brand new, the Concours 14 started at around $15,999. Add in accessories and dealer fees, and you were easily looking at $17,000. Serious money for a bike increasingly viewed as outdated. As sales slowed, dealerships were left sitting on unsold stock. They tried everything to move them: steep discounts, bundled accessories, generous trade-in offers, even extended warranties and free service intervals. Today, the Concours 14 remains an absolute bargain for riders who know what it is: a high-speed, high-comfort rocket ship built for the open highway, not tight city streets. It still crushes miles like few bikes can, and its endless torque remains addictive for anyone with a heavy right hand. But for modern buyers chasing lighter, leaner, tech-packed machines, the Concours 14 feels like a relic from a different era. And that's the end of our list of 7 Japanese motorcycles dealers can't sell, so you can buy them dirt cheap. Did we miss a bike that you think should have made the list? Drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more awesome motorcycle content, and as always, ride safe. See you in the next one.